We're looking at two very special pickups. The one on the left, the most powerful six-cylinder engine in any pickup. On the right, the highest gas mileage of all the full-size pickups. Both come together in one tough truck. Ford's 4.9-liter six. You get the gas economy you want with the most power you can get in a six. All in one full-size pickup. Ford's 4.9-liter six. The best-built American trucks are built. Ford Tough.
How's everybody doing? So, the purpose of today's video is the 300 Ford. And I love the 300 Ford. They're not a big performer. They weren't even that great on gas. But they were tough. And that's something we've forgotten in today's world, where everything is, you know, has a lot of horsepower and they even get good fuel mileage, but they're not reliable. You're always sacrificing something, that mechanics triangle, right? You're always sacrificing, and I would rather have reliability than horsepower. So what I wanted to know is if you could go backwards in time with a 300 Ford. If you could, say, take a fuel injected one and carburate it. It should be straightforward enough, and that's what the whole point of this video is. So that's what we're gonna do today. I've got the old pickup here, the 83, and then I've got a 1970 Ford high compression 300, and then I've got a 1990, I'm gonna say 91 or something like that, Ford 300 fuel injected, and I'm gonna mix and match and move parts around until I get the result I want, or until I'm proven wrong. But I suspect that the 300s are pretty much all the same, and you can just bolt the parts back and forth, and then yeah, you'll be able to go backwards and carburate something. Let's say your computer's fried, or your fuel injection, or you want something, you want to swap a 300 into a project vehicle. Well, then you're set. You just carburate a 300 Ford, and you can put it in anything, and you don't have to fight with computers, and you don't have to fight with any of that stupid stuff. And that's the whole point of this. Oh, I love this old girl, the old 4-speed. Not a big performer, but she's a performer. As you can see, I'm just at the lake, enjoying the weather. Just another day in paradise. You know, the old girl runs good, but I don't think she's got a ton of compression left, because she's sitting in second gear. And if I walked away, she'd roll. Yeah, she's rolling. If I walked away, yeah, she would roll all the way into the lake in a couple of hours, I bet. But we're not going to be here long. So before we go complaining that this thing's wore out, and we don't even know the mileage on this thing. Like it only goes up to 99,000, so it could have, you know, 1, 2, 3, 450,000 kilometers on it. We just don't know. And I know the transmission was right full of metal when I changed the oil in it, so that's a bad sign. And the rear end's, you know, wore out, but you know, whatever, that's a bad sign. So chances are the engine's wore out too. It still starts and runs like a top. Like, it runs phenomenally well. There, hold on. Oh yeah, there we go. Listen to that thing. Still not a performer, but damned if it doesn't run good. What more could a guy ask for? And there's another reason that people love these 300s, and you know, what they lacked in performance and everything, they made up for in one thing: torque. Here, I'll show you. It's just sitting here idling like a champ, and yeah, it's just no big deal, right? He'll just do that all day. Oh, things are getting out of control. It's gonna start towing the, yeah, it just wants to tow it. That thing's in gear with the 7.3, a 1-ton 7.3 IDI, and it just wants to go. Oh, we're starting to move. Yeah, look at that thing. Just idles away. No big deal. Yeah, it's not going to win any races, but all the torque you could ever want. And it'll do that on pavement. purr. Oh yeah, it'll do that all day. It's just getting warmed up. All right, let's do this. All right. Oh, and that's also a challenge I'd like to lay out, you guys. Let's see how many of your V8 pickups and everything will do idle burnouts. I'm just curious. I'm not saying they won't. I'm just saying let's see them do idle burnouts. Just put it in gear, let it idle, and see if it stalls. Hey guys, what's going on? What we got here is a 1970 high compression 300 Ford. This one's got a big 4-barrel intake on it. I considered making it turbo, but it's a high compression one, so I probably won't. But I want to test run this thing. It's been sitting for about, let's call it 13 years. I had the head redone. I re-ringed it. I honed the holes. I did a bunch of work to it. And I put all new parts. But it's been sitting ever since. Sorry. And the reason it's been sitting was because this was supposed to go in my 49 Ford. My 49 Ford ended up being a Cummins. So this has been sitting ever since. I've had no use for it, but I got to do something with it because I spent a bunch of money on it. So I'm going to end up having to put it in something, but I don't know if it runs yet. So I'm going to have to test run it. To test run it, I need a few things. I need a carburetor and I need a header. Technically, I could run it without the header, but I don't want to spend any money. So buying headers for a 300 Ford, when I've already spent a bunch of money, I'll never get back out of it. It seems kind of painful and pointless. So I said, well, why don't I find a set of headers used? And the problem is that these things aren't laying around anymore, and people don't have performance parts for them laying around. So I did some research, and according to the internet, the header off of a 89 will bolt onto a 1965. And just by chance, I have a 300 Ford Fuelie here that I got for free out of a derby truck. What killed this derby truck was a computer fried. So the engine's mechanically sound. It never even got hot in the derby. The computer popped and it just died. That was it. It never even blew the rad or anything. But the truck's garbage because the computer's fried and it's a half ton and it got violated by 3/4 tons. So I'll see if I can find a clip of that. So I'm going to peel off all the fuel injection on this thing because it's garbage anyway. And I'm going to, for the time being, be borrowing the header off this thing. Manifold, header, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I'm going to probably end up test running this one too and make sure it'll run as a carb job. I should theoretically be able to just hot wire the distributor, I would think, and just feed it gas into the intake and it should fire. And if it does, it's worth keeping. So I'm working on this 300 and hopefully I can just put plugs in these, but this is I assume the EGR valve or EGR rail. It takes exhaust gas and then sucks it back into the intake, and it's just generally bad for the engine. I don't care what anybody says, it's just terrible. That was their way of meeting emissions in the 80s and 90s. But and this thing had an air pump right here, the one I smashed off with a hammer. All this stuff came off pretty easy, especially when you don't care. Lots of cutting and garbage. Anyway, the plus side is the manifolds on an old one definitely bolt on a new one. There are some differences, though, that you need to do. The front manifold bolts right on, but there's a hole here that's useless now because there's no hole in the old head. That's minor. That's who cares. The rear one does fit, but you have to do a couple little modifications. I had to modify to take that little nub off. There's a little nub right there. Junk on it. There's a little nub. I had to take that nub off. That's probably because this is a 4-barrel intake, and it's just because of the clearance to the big intake. I don't think you'd have to do that on a normal one. But I did have to clearance this bolt hole right there. This one you could cut off entirely because same thing, there's no bolt hole for it. Same as that one. It's the same scenario as, or sorry, that one. Same as that one. There's no bolt hole. So you could trim it off completely. But if I trim it off completely, I can't bolt it back on the other 300. So trimming just a little chunk off means it can be used in either scenario. But they do bolt on and they do line up exactly the same. So by all means. But they're not headers. I thought they were headers until I got a little digger, you know, a little further into it. And then I realized they're just manifolds. They're definitely better than the one that was on here. The old 300 one. But yeah, not ideal. Have to weld that hole shut if I'm going to use it. But yeah, it should work. I'm that much closer to testing. Now I'm probably going to have to run out and see that right there. The truck from the last video has a 2-barrel carburetor on it that leaks and isn't all that great. And I'll probably end up going and getting it. Just for the purposes of test running this thing, and then I'll take it back off. Once it's been test ran and I know it's running, then the engine's worth putting in something and worth doing something with. So what I've done here is possibly the most hillbilly wiring I've done yet. It's pretty bad, but I'm testing a theory. So you can't run these electronic distributors without an ignition module. I had one laying around. I put a ground on it, pretty straightforward. Zip tied it to the intake. And then you have a power wire. There's supposed to be a resistor, but I don't have one in there. But I did put a fuse just in case. And then that's pretty much it. Like the green wire off the module goes to the negative side of the coil. The red one goes to the red coil, and everything else just plugs in where it's supposed to. The distributor plugs in where it's supposed to. This plugs in where it's supposed to. It's pretty straightforward. It is surprisingly hillbilly. All I did was sprayed gas in here. I don't have a carb on yet. And I'm just going to touch some wiring together in the most dangerous fashion possible. I have not considered permanently wiring anything yet because I haven't tested this, but check this out. It's firing. It won't start like this. I mean, we can try, but I don't think it's going to. I mean, I could try choking it, I guess. Oh, why not? What's the harm? We'll give it a spray. If I put a carb on this thing, it'll probably run. Let's try choking it. Let's just try. Let's just do it for the sake of fun. What could go wrong? We'll find this old license plate. Chokey, chokey. There we go. Maybe it'll run. Maybe it'll fly off the stand. I've never test run this engine before. I probably shouldn't be doing it this way. We'll do it on the backside so I don't burn my fingers. It will run. Of that I am sure. It just needs a carburetor now. I don't know where the timing is set either, but I can't really do that until I set up a solenoid and a push button starter. But it's firing. And this thing means it's working. So go team. Look at this sweetheart. Look at this fancy starter. Idle's a little low. Nice. Oh, you gotta love free Fords. Oh, awesome. Oh, out of gas. So I'm back. I took a long hiatus from working on this old 300 because I stole the carb off it to put on the old Fire Chief car that I'm still working on. The transmission is put back in after fixing the leak and everything, but I'm still waiting to do the shift kit on it and repair the shift linkage. So I got another carb. It showed up in the mail, and my HEI distributor showed up, and I can explain this to you guys now. This is the answer to everything. So I've taken the wiring and the electronics and all the stuff off this engine. I'm going to use them to test the other 300. The whole point is to get rid of the computerized setup on the other one and make it so you can run that one with old stuff on it, which should have always been the way. I hate modern technology. Anyway, so to get away from this one that takes an ignition module and everything, you go to an HEI distributor, and they're like $125, and it takes one wire. There's one wire there that goes to the coil to power it. That's your power supply for everything off the battery, and the other wire goes to the tach if you want to run a tach or an RPM gauge, a tachometer. You don't need to do that. It's just there as an option. But it's very, very simple to do this stuff for people who don't understand. So we have this thing at top dead center. I cranked it over by hand until I hit 0. This is 0 right there. Then, to make sure we're on the right stroke, we take off the clips here. And before anyone gets confused, this is very simple. Number one. Number 1 is the furthest one forward on any engine. It always is. Nothing changes. It doesn't matter if it's a V8. The furthest spark plug to the front, the furthest cylinder technically, but is the one that it should be pointing at. If inside the rotor is pointing at this one, it is. See, we're on the right stroke. So it means we are pointed at number 1. We're on the right stroke. I could theoretically turn it another full turn, and then this would be pointed over here because the camshaft turns at half speed. This runs at half the speed the engine runs at. We won't get into the technicalities for people who don't understand that concept, but I assume people who are watching this are fairly understanding of this basic stuff. Anyway, so we're pointed in the right way. Now all we do is pull the distributor off. We literally unbolt it, slide it out, slide the new one in, and try and get that rotor pointed at this spot. It doesn't have to be pointed exactly at this spot. We can move the distributor side to side. I'll show you guys that. So here we are. I slid the distributor in. The only thing you need to know is that sometimes there's a little hexagon shaft that comes out. That's the oil, that's the drive that runs the oil pump. You have to transfer that over. So if it stays stuck in this end, you have to just pop it out and put it in the other one. It's very, very straightforward. Anyway, so we took it off, and we can point this any way we want, but we know that number 1 is going to be that one. So to make it the same as the other one, we're going to point this HEI distributor kind of in that direction. And does that leave us in a good spot for number 1? That's the question. So we know number 1 is right there, and it was roughly, it's right in my way. See, it's pointed in the right way. It's pointed right there. So, of course, that's not being held down. So all we have to do is put the plug wires on in the same pattern. I mean, I know which way they go, but we just have to put them on in the same pattern they were off there to make it as simple as possible. If you want to be really methodical, take a picture of your phone or write 1 on 1 and then 5 on 5. Sorry, that's 2. It doesn't matter. 1, 5, 3, 6, 2, 4 is the firing order, but you could write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on each one of them, which I did in the past once upon a time before I mismatched all these plug wires. And then you can't mess it up, which I just totally did. Yep, way to go me. So I had to put the battery charger on it because I'm trying to set the timing and my battery dies because it's an old piece of crap battery. And I absolutely battled this thing. Because it's an HEI distributor, there's one downside to them. They're physically large, and it runs into bolts, and it runs into things everywhere because it's big. This is the spot where I got it to be happy. Unfortunately, my vacuum is pointing the wrong way, but whatever, the vacuum advance, that's just a hose. It doesn't matter if it's pointed there. I tried pointing it in different positions, and the issue is this number 1 plug wire. I'd have to pull the distributor out and put it back in with the rotor facing number 1. That'd be the easiest thing to do, and I'll probably end up doing that. But for the purposes of testing it, I got the timing set up, and see if it just goes. It should just go. It'll probably spit the jack out. It shakes a lot, so I put a jack under it. There's not enough gas, I bet, in this thing. I just put a quick squirt of gas in it. It might not be enough. Yeah, there's not enough gas in it. There's just a spray of gas in the carb. Like I said before, I don't want to run it too long without water or water pump, because it'll just hurt the head gasket. This has got a new head gasket. But for the purposes of testing it, it works and it runs. See, the important thing here is that you've replaced all the wiring and all the garbage with one wire. One wire, a power wire to the battery. That's it. That's the whole setup. There, disconnected, no more power. Look at that rat's nest of questionable work I do. Anyway, so yeah, that's the answer. And I got given a free 351 Windsor. It was in a truck frame, but I stripped the engine out of the frame, and it had a 4-speed. I think it's 1983, I could be wrong. It had a crappy aluminum transfer case, but it had a 4-speed behind it. And I'm going to stick it in something else. But I'm going to do the same distributor thing, HEI distributor, on this as I did on that. I'm going to get a 4-barrel intake, and I've got a carb, and I've got headers. I've got all kinds of parts laying around. This is another Windsor, just like the one in the car, except this is just a normal one, not a performance one. But doesn't matter. For what I'm doing, it's fine with like 250 horsepower. Anyway, back to what we were doing. The 300 is as simple as a 300 can be made right now. Like, there's no wiring. If you put a 1-wire distributor on this, you need 2 wires to make the whole machine work. Like, that's just awesome. You've simplified it to its extremes, and now it's as easy to troubleshoot and as reliable as it can be. Very, very simple. So now I'm going to take all the crap I took off this thing, put it on that thing. I'm going to see if I can make the fuel-injected one run with the carbureted parts. And I assume they're the same, but the only thing I've noticed so far that's different is that the manifold bolts and the intake manifold and the exhaust manifold are standard on this one and metric on that one. So I kept them. I've got a big pile of metric bolts and a bunch of crappy wiring. Yeah, there we are. So it's the only thing I've noticed so far that's different. So when I put this one on, I'm going to have to get rid of the coil, the distributor, put the stuff off the old 300 on it, and then I'll have to steal the intake and the exhaust off this one to put on that one. Sounds like a big job. It's like 5 minutes. It's really no big deal. It's nothing to do. That's why you got to love these inlines, especially sitting in here on the floor in the shop. Then we can start that one, prove that this theory works, and then I can put any 300 out of any year of truck can be moved into anything. So I yanked the manifolds off of the good 300 and put them on the junk 300, and everything bolts up fine. So yeah, the fuel injected to conversion to carb is no big deal. The one thing I did run into was there was a manifold here for emissions, and you have to put plugs in it. When I figure out what size those plugs are, I'll write it for you guys, or I'll put it in the description, so that you know you need 6 of those plugs to plug off that rail, because the carb won't clear. That rail sticks out right there. The distributor is another challenge. There's no marks on the flywheel on this thing to tell when you're at top dead center. There was a number 1 on the distributor cap. I broke it. It's garbage anyway. But that number 1 could be very deceiving. If it's factory form, you can trust that. But if it's, something you bought off a clown like me, that means nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I broke the cap because unlike the old stuff that just comes apart, this newer stuff, new being the 90s, just doesn't come apart. So the little screw, that one's seized in there, and I just said screw it because I'm not using this anyway. So that distributor's garbage. I put the other old distributor out of the 70 into this one. Air compressor's making weird noises. Anyway, I put the other cap on this one, and I set number 1 to number 1 and everything, but I couldn't find TDC, so I had to pull a spark plug out of number 1, crank it over until it hit the top, and then I had to paint mark the crank. So there's no markings on this thing. I've never seen that before. No markings whatsoever. And here's the more disturbing part. This thing had a computer, I assume computer-controlled distributor. So it wasn't pointed at number 1. It was pointed somewhere else, like somewhere near but not at, which means chances are the computer had something to do with the timing, and it could adjust that reference or something. I don't know exactly how that works. I am not smart when it comes to this stuff, but I can figure out the mechanical side of it. Anyway, so it's all wired up. All I got to do now is put a battery on it and crank it, check the timing, start it. Once I prove this thing runs, then we know that the theory's sound. You can put a bunch of old stuff on the new engine, and they're identical. They're pretty much identical. Yeah, the real upside of a new one is I think the new ones they were a bit, things are improved on them, the 90s ones. They probably made more horsepower. That might be just because of the fuel injection too. But you also get the serpentine belts, and you can get rid of the V belts. The V belts are simple, but if you want to run more accessories, you want air conditioning, you want all kinds of things, the serpentine belts are way better. Yeah, it's definitely simpler with the V belt, but they leave a lot to be desired. Squealing, and I'm dealing with that with my 28 old Roadster. Every time you turn, it doesn't matter left or right, the belts squeal. Now, that doesn't make sense because the belt, it doesn't have power steering. So all the belt's running is the water pump and the alternator, and it squeals when you turn. I haven't quite figured out that mystery yet. I'm curious what people think about that. All right, I'm back again, and I did a bit of a cleanup in the shop here, and I finally got everything switched over to the other 300. Everything bolted up just fine. I'm recording right now, just realizing that I never put the bottom bolts in on the exhaust manifold and the intake manifold, which could cause me some issues here trying to start it. But as you can see, this is less of a rat's nest than it was before. No more booster cables or anything. I just ran a ground wire to the solenoid. Interesting side fact, if you guys wire the positive and the signal to the starter backwards on a solenoid, it sticks on. I knew that, but I wasn't paying attention when I put it together. And the first time I tried cranking it, the starter just stayed on, and I did disconnect the battery. So yeah, if you have that problem that you've changed a solenoid and it's staying on, it's because you hook these wires up backwards. Yeah, I'm dumb on that one. That's on me. Either way, we've got our single power wire going to our Ford module. It's grounded, as you can see. It's got fuel. I checked the timing. The timing's good, and by timing I mean this random mark I made on the flywheel, or on the damper on the front, because I couldn't find any factory markings. And it seems to all be good, so all there is left to do is start it. So I can essentially just start the thing, and we can check timing and everything, but if this all works, then it means you just pull all the junk off of a 90s truck and you just stick a carb on it, and you're laughing. And you're off to the races. No more computers, no more issues. The only thing you'd have to do to change on the truck itself or on the vehicle itself is it would more than likely, if it's going to be out of something this new, it's going to have an in-tank fuel pump, which is going to be like 45 PSI, and that's way too much for a carb job. So you'd take that out and just run a little electric chugger pump, like the ones I run for everything. I'm not even... Any brand is fine, but these little Posi flow pumps, these little $100 pumps, I've got them in everything. Love them. Work great. Anyway, I could have hooked it up to this too to run it longer, but you don't want to run it long for the head gasket without coolant in it. So I just wanted to see if it would work. But, I mean, it could just take off and do all kinds of crazy stuff, because all I did was spray gas in it. the timing could be way off too. Give it gas, all the gas. So I assume because I had no timing marks, the timing's probably off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust it until I find a spot where it'll run, because I can't be that far off. Like I guessed, but I can't have been off by more than, let's say, 20 degrees in either direction. And that's being generous. It's probably less than that. So all we're going to do is we're going to back it off a bit and see if that fixes the problem. So this is number 1, and then this is number 5, which means the rotation is that way. In which case, all I have to do is, if I'm going to retard, I'm going to do that. Yeah. We'll try it right there and see if it fires there. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be stubborn. Maybe I've got no spark. Well, I definitely have spark. I can see it flashing. So we've got spark. Another thing I could do if I was smart is I would verify rotation, because that's something I don't think that I did. And you never know. Every once in a while, a guy gets a little overconfident and does something dumb, like puts all the plug wires on the wrong order. Yeah, oh, I was right. It's the right direction. So my timing's off, which means we're gonna go even further. Now, I could just advance further and see if that fixes the problem. Let's try that. No harm, no foul, right? Uh-oh. Not pushing the button. No. This solenoid's not working properly. It can't be the ground. It's got a good ground on it. So something is causing it to stick in the on position. And I don't see any of the cables in the wrong places. So I'm not sure what's going on with the solenoid. So maybe it doesn't matter which direction it is. Maybe this is just not grounded good enough, or it's a faulty solenoid. It's brand new. Interesting. All right. So I changed all the plug wires, tried cranking it over again, thinking that it was 180 degrees out, because like I said, if this thing was, I never verified. I verified top dead center by making sure the piston was all the way up when I put the line on the crank, which is fine, but I never verified that the cam was in the right place, and the only way to do that is to pull valve cover. So I tried timing it the other way. That didn't fix anything. So I pulled the valve cover, made sure it was on the right stroke, compression stroke, number 1. And then my mark's pretty damn close. Like where it is, the mark is actually very close. So I rotated this back and forth a couple times now, and it fires and it starts. It kind of fired. I gave it a little bit more timing, and we'll see what it does. I'm not sure where the timing is, but it seems like it wants to start. Seems like it doesn't have much fuel, which is strange, because I put lots of fuel in the fuel bowls, but that doesn't mean the carb likes working on this angle either, and I'm not willing to fix this, so to speak, right? So yeah, make sure you get the gas all over everything. Everything that's flammable loves gas. Like batteries love gas, wiring loves gas, everything loves gas. Anyway, let's see if this does it. All right. Once again, my timing could be pretty far out, but it starts, so you know it'll run. Well, we know it'll run. It's not even a question now. So, essentially what we've proven, I'm going to turn the ignition off. Yeah, like that. And now the ignition's shut off. I don't have to worry about it burning something out. Or we've proven that you can just take all the parts of a car job and just put them right onto a fuel injection unit. Nothing, no issue, no problem. There doesn't seem to be... So this is where the fuel pump would bolt on, and it's a flat plate on this one, so that's different. You can't bolt a fuel pump off an old one onto a new one, so you'd have to run one of those little electric chugger pumps. But really, that's the only thing that's getting in the way. So if you were to put an HEI distributor, a one-wire, and a carbureted intake and manifold, well, just an intake manifold, the exhaust would be fine the way it was, whatever was on it, you could just make this thing run in a 90s Ford and get rid of all the fuel injection, if that was your goal. Now, what I proved with this thing, I don't think the computer was fried. It might have been fried on the Derby truck. I think the starter was just no good, because sometimes it spins, sometimes it shorts out, and sometimes it would crank the engine. And like, there's no way that this could be wrong. You've got positive and negative. Like, there's no way. So all that issue we were having cranking it over and everything with the shorting out, there's tons of bad wiring in a truck that's already been through the Derby, especially a fuel injected truck with a bunch of extra wiring to deal with. So I think all it was probably just a bad starter, which is whatever. The truck was garbage. It was a half ton. They make a terrible Derby truck. You got to use 3/4 tons. Anyway, so this engine's good. We know it runs. The timing's probably off, but it runs. We know it runs, and it runs on all holes and everything. It sounded like it was running okay. So, yeah, you can intermingle everything. You can run the HEI distributor. You can run the ignition module with minimal wiring. It's still, it's still a box. It's a box to fail, but it still would work if you're trying to pinch pennies and you've got the parts. By all means, like, all I needed was one wire. We've got one wire coming off this plug to power everything. That's it. And then the green wire goes to the negative on the coil. It could not be more simple than that. So, yeah, this is a major success. I'm happy with this. I'm going to steal all these parts back off and put them on this one, because this is a high compression 1970, and I already did a bunch of work to it. So this is the one where all the good parts are going to stay. We know that that one runs. There's nothing wrong with it mechanically, so it's good to go. Like, whether it goes in something or gets sold, it's not much good if it doesn't run. We know it runs in this configuration, so it's sellable. Somebody would have to buy an intake manifold and an exhaust manifold, but whatever. We'll deal with that when the time comes. I'm just thrilled that I got 2 more junk engines that I had laying around running, because it gets to be a little cluttered. I've still got some more to deal with, but for the time being, success. So, in conclusion, where I'm going with this is that I think in today's day and age, we've gotten off a cliff for, sacrificing reliability for performance and for fuel economy, where I've actually considered buying a newer truck and swapping in a 300, because we have an EcoBoost at work, at my job, and the EcoBoost is dead. And they don't want to fix it. The truck's in good shape, but the engine's shot. Well, the answer to that is to just swap in something else, because the truck's worth saving. So, like, these IDIs are gutless, and the 300 Ford's not a big performer, but with a few mods, you can make it decent. And they'll be decent on fuel, but more importantly, they'll be shockingly reliable. And that's my thing, is reliability, because I could care less how something drives if it's not reliable. Like, this thing, for all of its problems, it needs nothing. It runs, it drives, it stops, it starts. Well, I mean, ether. But reliability is not an issue. I know it'll run. In fact, not long ago, before I put the cover over the blower, it rained in there, and I went to crank it over, and it was hydro-locked. So I took all the glow plugs out and cranked it over and spat all the water out of it, and then I put the glow plugs back in and sprayed it with ether, and it started, and it's fine. So what does that say? Like, reliability. If you did that to a new truck, it'd probably be destroyed. Well, now that we're here, we might as well run this thing for the end of the video. Oh, and just for the record, the blower is not even connected right now. The chain's off. It's more practical for yard work, this thing, and towing things around with the blower disconnected, because the blower just makes it overheat. Oh, we're in gear. Yeah, that'll happen from time to time. There we go. Oh. Oh, my battery's dead apparently. Either that or it's ether locked. Oh yeah, it'll go. Come on. It's definitely not happy. Oh, my battery's finally dead. Well, that's really disappointing. No. Now it seems only prudent to use a miled out 400,000 kilometer beat up IDI to boost a 530,000 kilometer miled out beat up IDI. I can't end the video with a dead battery. Like, that's just not fair to anybody. And now that I know the battery's weak, I gotta move this thing somewhere where I can charge the battery, because if it gets cold, it'll freeze. Let's try this. Ugh. Oh, you're playing games with me, eh? You want to play dirty? I know what to do. There we go. It just needed a little sauce. Oh yeah. Don't worry about the water in the exhaust. That'll happen from time to time. Oh yeah, it's running like a top. But I do need to charge the battery now. Oh, it's just shitty old IDIs everywhere. Oh, I love it. 397,000. Oh, I love this thing. Better go park it somewhere where you can charge the batteries up. Oh, this thing's what dreams are made of. I mean, if your dream is to drive garbage with basically no brakes and, you know, you can't see anything. Visibility is a 0 out of 10 on this thing. Oh, I still love it though. I just can't not love this thing. Right there, right where I can charge it. Oh no, wait, I think it's on the wrong side. Yeah, I gotta do a little loop here. I'm waiting for the farmers to take the crop off so I can drive in the field again. It's way more fun when the fields are, you know, accessible to this thing. Oh, nice and smooth like a typical IDI. Now it has that fit nowhere. Oh, I missed my target. Oh, I love that sound. You gotta have at least one vehicle with zoomies on it. Like it's just a necessity. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.